So this is part 3. Just to recap and jog your memory back, that's part 1. That's part 2, guys. Part 2 was we zoomed into the iceberg. Anyone who's watching right now, please click like so we get more people on. We zoomed into the iceberg and we talked about 3 parts of the iceberg. We talked about conscious, pre-conscious and unconscious part of your mind, because the biggest part of the mind is the thing that you don't see. Our hidden desires are stronger when we don't see them. Stuff that happened to us in our past, trauma, past experience, memories, stuff that we can't recall is what is hidden underneath the water. And today I've called this dating, hating and sleeping. Dating, hating and sleeping because they're the 3 things that we do on a daily basis. Because guess what? The unconscious level of our mind is to do with the ego, it's to do with instinct, so biological instinct. So if you want to, create a new generation, more babies, you want to reproduce, that's instinctual and that's biological. And that all comes from the unconscious level. And that's important to understand, basically. So let's check what the chat's saying. So who watched part 1 and part 2? And if you didn't, I'm gonna put it at the top of the video and you can go watch it, basically. We had quite a few people on part 1 and part 2. This is part 3. So what we're talking about part 3. There's a lot of stuff stored into your memory and your brain, and your mind is essentially like a reservoir. So it's a reservoir of thoughts, memories, things that happen that you can't even recall, and that's your unconscious. That could be anger at your mother, anger at parents. That could be memories of sort of like abuse, that kind of thing. So we don't want to get into too much detail, but that is in your unconscious. And yeah, it could be hatred towards a family member. And that is actually making you kind of struggle to maybe even date, struggle to have relationships, struggle to have friendships, struggle to even live your life sometimes. So that's why your unconscious level is really important. And I'll tell you one thing, the reason why we experience, for example, depression is because we are actually repressing stuff that happened to us in the past. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we get to understand ourselves, we get to protect ourselves. So there's a layer of protection. And yeah, and that happens all unconsciously. Well, you do it consciously, but it's to do with your unconscious still. So we know now, because we're on part 3, that the unconscious level has 6/7, or some people say 90%. So almost 90% of your unconscious, your mind is part of the unconscious level, and that unconscious, because there's so much hidden underneath the water we don't know about. We're repressing our emotions and our memories and our struggles. Something called repression, and that is what stops depression. But the paradox is you could bring about depression by having too much repression, that kind of thing. So it's called repression. That's an important word, repression, because repression basically is what is a self-defense mechanism of your mind. So say the way I see it is, say you're trying to squish something. You know those TikTok videos where somebody's is pressing down on like an object. Say they were trying to squish this pen. This pen is going to do everything in its own ability to basically push back on that thing that's hitting the pen. Or let's take this wax here, this wax that I use for my hair. This wax, say if this was pressing on this wax and I was trying to destroy it, this hard plastic case is gonna bounce back and it's gonna try and stop it from being squished. And that's what happens in our brain every single day, probably every second. And that's why we operate on 10%. So it's good to understand that, because guess what? When you understand that depression is actually not too bad. It's something that your brain does to help you. It's like almost like an immune system. So think about depression almost like an immune system. It's helping, it's fighting off the thoughts that are gonna kill you. There's a saying, it goes, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. It's kind of true, but at the same time, I would say, what is killing you makes you stronger. It's a bit paradoxical, but that is how your brain works. It's trying to protect your brain because something is trying to, circulate into your head. Something's trying to destroy you, but really it's helping you because it comes out as depression. But you don't want to be too depressed because that's bad. But on the flip side, you don't want to be repressing, you don't want too much repression. So the reason I'm explaining all this is because it all comes down to one thing. And in order to not be too focused on depression or repression, you need to understand that self-awareness is key. And that's why it's so important to be self-aware. So ultimately, it boils down to one thing, which is awareness. Awareness is really, really important, because once you are fully aware of yourself, guess what happens? You can love people more, you can have better friendships, you can have better dating life, you can have a better peace of mind, you can be alone on your own without thinking that that you're depressed, or you can be happy in your own skin, that kind of thing. So from this part 3 and this whole series, I just want you to take away one thing: awareness, self-awareness. If you're aware of yourself, if you're aware of your abilities, your personality, your ego, if you're aware of the fact that you are actually broken human being, because many people don't want to accept that. They think that they're on top of the world, but then something hits them and destroys them. And then they fall into depression, and then they got too much on their plate, they've got too many responsibilities, that kind of thing. So whoever's watching this today, I want you to understand self-awareness is key. And once you've cracked that code of balance between repressing things that could kill you and harm you, which, let's be honest, we have to repress our emotions and thoughts. We have to use this because it's a self-defense mechanism, and we do it automatically. We do it in a way where we're not even thinking. It's unconscious level repression. So once you can repress those things that are trying to kill you, but at the same time you are actually exposing things through therapy, through your friends, through experiences, through new experiences, then that is when you're going to become 100% peaceful and happy, and you're going to become the best possible self that you can be. So hope you enjoyed this live, guys. It's a short one because this is part 3, and I'm just concluding the fact that your most important part of the brain is your unconscious, because we don't see that. Your conscious is only like 1/7. That is 6/7 unconscious. Repression is what happens when we're trying to push away things that are trying to harm us in our mind, because if we were working at 100% of our brain's capacity, we would die. And also, it's just, we have an ego which protects us as well. So that's another topic. Maybe I do another video of that, but ego is so important. Ego is so important because it makes you who you are, and it creates an identity, and it makes you feel happy in yourself, but you don't want too much of that as well. So it's all about balance, basically. And I just remember our body is homeostatic, which means it's always trying to create balance. Perfect balance of water, perfect balance of CO2, perfect balance of oxygen, perfect balance of blood flow, whatever, however you want to look at it. And it's the same in our mind. You want a perfect balance of repression and depression, oppression, however you want to call it. You want to just perfect balance, and the only way you can do that is by being fully self-aware. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Whoever's watching the replay, hit the like button, and comment something that you think might have brought up something important in your life from watching this video, because that's my main target for these videos. I want the right person to listen to this and realize, actually, I could help myself by being more self-aware. I could help myself by being more conscious of my unconscious and pre-conscious or subconscious, however you want to call it. So if you're watching this and you're new, this is Brainfeed, and do subscribe to the channel. Do subscribe to, like the video, and it helps a lot. Thanks a lot, guys.